Today we are going to talk about some of the most common issues I see when I'm trying to implement consent mode. I'm talking about the specific case when a tag is read before there is a consent stage in the first place. So you probably saw a version of the problem. I'm going to explain to you why this issue happened in the first place, when you should ignore it, when you should pay attention to it, and what needs to be done. All of this in the next section. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, so let's start by first explaining the issue and why you are seeing the warning. I've got two tags here. I've got my page view tag and a consent tag. The page view tag basically it fires on all pages, a very classic tag that you see in most setup. The consent tag will set our consent states. What happens is that you can see that our page view tag is firing before our consent tag. This is a problem because the page view tag needs the consent signals. If the user denies tracking, you can either block it, remove certain identifiers. But what happens is that our page view will raise our consent tag and it will fire first. This causes an issue because we need this tag in red to fire first to set the information that is necessary for the proper firing of our page view tag. This is really the heart of the issue. It's just a sequencing problem. You need this to fire first and you won't see the warning basically. Okay, now I'm going to show you how you can solve this problem by using trigger groups. First, let's do a little test and show you how this warning looks like. So I've got a page view with warning, a page view with trigger group, which is the solution that I am proposing here. So let's see what the page view with warning looks like when it triggers. So I've got a page view data layer here, and you can see that the page view with the warning is firing. My GTM consent default is firing after it. This page view event does not have access to the default consent states. When you open the tag, you can see that there is the warning right here, which is that our tag is firing before the GTM consent default, which has the consent signals. So the trigger group has the same page view event. The only difference is that our page view event will not fire until an update command after the default command was set. I'm going to show you how it looks like when I open the tag. What I've done, I've got a data layer that is called page view, and this is the first condition. And the second condition is that I told my tag to not fire until I have the cookie consent update push as well. It will look for both of those conditions before it fires. In my default tag right here that is firing with the warning, I just have the data layer push. So it will find the event, which is page view, and it will fire on it. This explains the different or the two behaviors I shared with you. How early my page view is triggering. The page view with the correct configuration is firing much later. So this is the solution number one. Okay, now we talked about the trigger groups. If you have access to a developer, I highly recommend using the second method, which is basically just, if you look at my page view data layer here, I recommend just pushing it after the cookie consent update. You can just tell your developer to move whatever data layers that are firing before the consent default in update, and making sure that they are firing after those signals are established. Instead of having a trigger group here, you will have your page view firing after the consent update, which is how you make sure that you do not get the warning. The last part I'm going to share with you is when you should not worry about the warning you see here. So I fixed the issues by making my page view fire after the consent update. I will not get the race condition, at least from my page view, but you can see here that I still get a warning. This is because I've got another tag that is firing just before the consent default. I've got a tag that says the default command. It is firing before the consent default. This is normal because this one right here will send us the consent default commands. It should fire as early as possible, but it will cause the race condition you see when I look at my consent log right here. This is not a problem because this tag, or really any tag that does not send information to GE4 or other platforms, I mean marketing data, you should not worry about it. You will still get the warning, but in this case, it is safe to ignore it, whether you are probably using an iframe, for example, to like load a chatbot or some other script that is not related to marketing, if it's not sending any kind of marketing data. So this is the particular case when it is safe to ignore it. Of course, you should carefully look at your tags that are firing before the consent defaults and evaluate based on what I showed you. So that's for our tutorial today. I will share some links for the consent mode and I will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching and until next time.